In a time when war bled across the kingdoms, an ancient legend was whispered back into life. The Sword of Night, a blade forged by gods long turned to dust, had been lost for centuries. Now it was said to have returned. They claimed it could cut through shadow itself, a power so immense that only one soul in all the lands could ever hope to wield it. As kings marshaled their armies and the world braced for conflict, two rivals began a perilous quest. Eldric, a man haunted by his past, sought the sword for redemption, and Kael, driven by ruthless ambition and a prophecy he believed was his alone, sought it for power. Their paths were destined to collide in a desperate race that would ultimately decide the fate of all, tipping the balance between light and darkness forever. The tale was reborn in fire and ash. In a burning library, ancient scrolls turned to embers on the wind. It was once said, the gods forged the blade to seal the darkness, and then, their work done, vanished into memory. In the flickering light, a terrified monk whispered the words that would ignite the world. The Sword of Night has awakened. Far away, Eldric was lost in a dream. He saw the sword, a sliver of impossible light, floating over a vast sea of stars, surrounded by grasping, formless shadows. A faint, ethereal voice called out to him, urgent and clear, "Find me before the night does." He awoke with a gasp, his heart pounding in his chest. His hand flew to a simple pendant around his neck, a family heirloom, which now pulsed with a soft, otherworldly glow. Meanwhile, ambition marched under a merciless sun. Kael, clad in black armor, rode at the head of his elite soldiers, their banners snapping in the wind as they crossed the ruins of a fallen desert kingdom. His trusted advisor rode beside him, his voice laced with caution. "My lord, many have sought this sword through the ages. None have ever returned." Kael's gaze never wavered from the horizon. He offered a cold smile. "Then I shall be the first. For where ambition blinds, destiny waits patiently in the shadows." Eldric's journey took him to a different darkness, the Forest of Whispers. Here, under a sliver of moon, ancient trees seemed to breathe, their leaves whispering voices of the past. He traveled with a local scout, but the forest was a living labyrinth. One moment the scout was there, the next he had vanished without a sound. From the gloom, a shadowy creature lunged, all claws and guttural rage. Eldric fought back with desperate fury, his sword a blur of steel against the unnatural darkness. He survived the encounter, but as the creature dissolved into nothing, he saw them. Strange, glowing symbols seared onto its hide, They were the very same symbols he had seen in his dream, the ones that danced around the floating sword. The trail led him onward, higher, to a ruined temple carved directly into the face of a sheer mountain cliff, hidden from the world by mist and time. Inside, the air was still and sacred. Faded murals covered the walls depicting forgotten gods in a desperate battle against a colossal beast made of pure darkness. The sword was not forged for kings or for glory. It was forged for those who bear the burden of light. Following an instinct he couldn't explain, Eldric uncovered a pedestal of polished black stone, and there, embedded within it, the faint outline of the Sword of Night pulsed with a captive, sleeping light. Just as his fingers brushed the stone, the temple entrance was thrown into darkness. Kael had arrived. Outside, a storm broke with sudden violence, lightning flashing, illuminating their faces in stark, dramatic relief. They needed no words. Their blades met in a shower of sparks, a brutal, desperate duel for the fate of the world. As Kael pressed his attack, his sword struck the pedestal with a deafening crack. The stone shattered. A blinding wave of pure light erupted from within, throwing them both back. The Sword of Night was free. It hovered in the air, radiant and humming with power. As Eldric reached out and grasped its hilt, the shadows coiling in the corners of the temple recoiled as if burned. The energy that pulsed from the blade was not confined to the temple. It was a ripple that washed across the entire continent. In distant mountain peaks, ancient dragons stirred in their slumber. In their towers, mages felt a surge of raw power return to the world. The Sword of Night had returned, and the world would never be the same. Thanks for watching. If you want to see what happens next in Kingdom of Ashes, make sure to like, share, and subscribe to the channel for more epic fantasy stories. We'll see you in the next episode.